morning, guys. This is week 3 of my winter camping excursions. I started exploring primitive camping methods. I've been working on refining my fire building, my shelter making, basically staying warm at night. It's been pretty intense as my sleeping system has been lacking a bit. But tonight I've got something a little extra. I picked up a Greatcoat. It's similar to a trench coat, but it's made out of wool, and it's supposed to be the equivalent of 2 wool blankets. It's super warm on its own, and I've got a wool anorak on, and this thing is toasty. I'm sweating now. I'm carrying about 28 pounds on my back tonight. That's 2 wool blankets, the Greatcoat, and 2 Russian poncho tents, palaktas. And then I've got my haversack loaded up. Well, good morning, guys. It's about 8 a.m. The turkeys are up and rocking. They're having a party over there. This is the configuration I settled on. Actually went through 3 different variations last night before I finally decided on one. I got the original setting put up and laid down in it and realized I didn't have nearly enough room in it. I'm still figuring these things out. It's kind of an awkward configuration to set up. So individually, the palaktas are 6 foot by 6 foot, and you can combine them by tying one side together, so it'll make a 6 foot by 12 foot footprint. Generally with tarp shelters, a square tarp is ideal. It gives you a lot of options on how you're able to configure it. Rectangular configurations are a little bit more limiting, but they're still doable. Like, I mean, this is pretty cool. I used a ridgeline, paracord ridgeline. It strengths across between these two trees. I put in a stake here to give me a little bit of room at the back. And then I need the full 12 feet, so I put in a stake here and elevated it up a little bit. My bedding was a whole lot of sticks collected from the area, and then I covered the sticks with pine boughs. I covered the pine boughs with my 2 deer hides that I had my blanket pack wrapped in, and then I laid down one of my wool blankets. And I slept in the larger wool blanket inside my greatcoat. So this is a greatcoat. They've been in place with militaries since, you know, the First World War. They were issued to soldiers along with a blanket, sometimes without even a blanket, and it was part of their outerwear, part of their sheltering system. They would be issued a tent half, and then they would combine the tent half with a partner, and then they would sleep in their greatcoats. So when I read about it, it said that they were worth 2 wool blankets. So it was pretty interesting, and I'm pretty sure this is 100% wool, and I found it at a surplus store for 30 bucks. So it was quite a deal. The last 2 weekends, I didn't sleep very much. The first weekend, I got a couple hours. Last weekend, I was up all night feeding the fire. It was intense. All of the wood that I was burning last week was pine, fat wood. It's got a natural accelerant with the resins in the wood, and it just lit right up. So yeah, tonight I made an effort to find some maple to mix in with the pine that's around me, and that worked out really good. The fire burned a lot longer, and there's a ton of deadfall out here, so I just collected logs. This is nothing. These logs that are back here, I had it piled up. I burned it like a truckload of wood, but the way I had it staged and staggered, it let me keep feeding the fire throughout the night relatively easy. So I've been using a Kukri quite a bit for wood processing a lot lately. It's nice, light, very versatile. You can do a lot of stuff with it. But I had this full-length single bit axe that I picked up from a hardware store, and it was powder coated with black paint, powder coat. I'm not sure what it was. It was pretty thick. I blasted it off with a grinder. I took about 8 inches off the handle, and then I cut the pommel off from this outward end and filed this down and re-glued it. And then I did a combat wrap similar to exactly what I did with my knife. I sanded the handle down, removed the lacquer, did a decorative burn with a micro torch, and then oiled it with olive oil. So now it's nice and smooth. It slides in your hand, but at the end it's really grippy, and it's plenty long. I've got really long arms, so it let me process a good bit of wood very quickly, and it's relatively light. So it's what they would call a boy's axe. It's the size in between a hatchet and a full length. So yeah, it was a good addition to my kit, and I was glad to have it last night because it made woodwork quite a bit easier. Tonight it was way more relaxed. I was more prepared mentally and psychologically. Like, I knew what to expect. It wasn't quite as cold as it was last weekend, but it was still pretty chilly. Like, there was ice in my beard while I was breathing. All right, guys, I'm gonna wrap it up. I'm gonna pack up and get out of here. Thanks for hanging out. I'm still gonna do a few more shelter configurations with these things and try and dial something in that I'm really happy with. This was so-so. I'm still playing around with it, but yeah, all in all, it was pretty good. All right, guys, cheers. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for checking out my channel. Like, subscribe. I really appreciate it. Thank you.